सारे आले बिखरी हुई उम्मत एक जिस्म के आज़ा की तरह है। मुसलमान अगर किसी मुल्क में नमाज छोड़ने वाले की नमाज के छोड़ने से मुतासिर नहीं हो रहा है तो समझ लो कि उम्मत की इज्तिमाइयत टूट चुकी है।
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Welcome back to L2N podcast London Nizamuddin. Inshallah, we'll be going through an excerpt of Sheikh Saad, one of his bayanat, and the topic is the ijtimaiyat of the ummah, the collectiveness of the ummah. Let's hear some of his few minutes of his talk.
काम करोगे या नहीं करोगे? ऐसे भी लोग हैं जो हाँ हालात का इंतजार कर रहे हैं, हालात ठीक होंगे तो काम करेंगे। मेरी बात याद रखियो, हालात के दुरुस्त होने का इंतजार दौरे नबूवत में मुनाफिकीन किया करते थे। हालात के दुरुस्त होने का इंतजार दौरे नबूवत में मुनाफिकीन किया करते थे कि हालात ठीक होंगे तो हम भी काम करेंगे। मुनाफिकीन निकलते हुए सोचा करते थे कि इस वक्त निकलना मुनासिब है या नहीं। वो खुरूज के हालात देखकर फैसला करते थे कि दावत देनी है या नहीं देनी है, निकलना है या नहीं निकलना है। मेरे दोस्तों, बुजुर्गों, अजीजों, मैंने अर्ज किया कि सबसे बुनियादी चीज ये लालच और माल है जो आपस की इज्तिमाइयत को तोड़ता है।
Respected brothers and elders, the ijtimaiyat and the collectiveness of this ummah and its power and being steadfast in their own deen is in this. The Quran has made it clear and clear cut when Allah Ta'ala says that whose deen and whose religion and whose way of life is more correct and more proper than the one who calls towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the one who combines da'wat and ibadat. And he says, I am one of the Muslims. In that case, you cannot demand from me anything other than the haqq. And if you demand from me anything from the haqq, then it will be flatly refused. And one of the taqazas of being a Muslim is it. That the one who is a call of a da'i towards the haqq, he will say, I am just a Muslim. Respected brothers and elders, one thing is very important. That we stay united. If we remain united, then this becomes a means of the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descending upon us. Why does this ijtimaiyat and unity affect others? One of the means that breaks ijtimaiyat and unity are few means. The first means and the one that potentially destroys the unity of the ummah, the one is greed for wealth. Because when ikhlas goes away, there is no ikhlas, then this means this will be used against the haqq. This is the biggest weapon of the batil. That is why all the prophets, they rejected wealth and the worldly things. The prophets ﷺ were tested through wealth. That does he want to be a king, does he want to be a prophet? Even a kafira, a disbeliever, tested Sulaiman ﷺ. That is he a king or is he truly a prophet? She sent him a present to test him does he have any love for this world? And Sulaiman ﷺ, he gave the answer in the Quran. فَمَا آتَانِيَ اللَّهُ خَيْرٌ مِمَّا آتَاكُمْ بَلْ أَنْتُمْ بِهَدِيَّتِكُمْ تَفْرَحُونَ. She sent a whole solid gold piece, and yet the roads, the pavements of Sulaiman ﷺ, of his kingdom, were made of gold. So much so that the animals used to use it as to place their droppings. To tell Bilqis, the queen of Sheba, that the gold that you love is so insignificant that I have made roads and pavements out of it. But yet you are happy with your hadiyah, with your gift. And he sent it back, returned it back. That is why the Anbiyas used to be tested through hadiyahs as well. This is what Bilqis, the queen of Sheba, wanted to see. And when she saw the halat, the situation of the kingdom of Sulaiman ﷺ, she embraced Islam. The biggest thing that disunites the ummah is lalach, is greed, is tama'. How many things were presented to the Sahabas? How many things were presented to the Prophet ﷺ to stop the work of da'wah? How many things? How many bribes and offers were made to him? The Prophet of Allah Muhammad ﷺ, we'll make you Sardar, we'll make you the leader of the whole community. We'll accumulate so much wealth for you that you'll become the richest man, aghna Qurayshan mala. And the Prophet ﷺ made only one response. You are talking about the dunya. If you were to place the one hand on mine, the sun, and the other hand, the moon, yani the whole kainat and its system were to be placed into my hands, still I will not stop this work and mission. Even today people ask us, are you going to do this work? When are you going to do this? Start doing this work. People say and make excuse that when a situation becomes better, then I will go in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then I will do the work of da'wah. Remember brothers, that in the Prophet ﷺ time, the only people who used to wait that the situation to be good, were better, were the munafiqeen, were the hypocrites. That when the situation subsides, then we'll go do the work of da'wah, then we'll go in the path of Allah. My friends, I've told you that one of the things that breaks into Ijtimaiyat is the greed of the dunya, greed of wealth. Second thing is hasad, yani jealousy and envy. It destroys many people's capabilities and capacity of doing good. Saying that, oh, we will not go with him, we will not stay with him, we will not sit with him, we will not do anything with him. What is the reason behind this? Hasad. Only hasad. Hasad and jealousy is such a thing that it breaks the unity of the ummah and it destroys the unity of the ummah. The Prophet said in the hadith, وَلَا تَحَاسَدُوا وَلَا تَبَاغَضُوا وَلَا تَدَابَرُوا وَكُونُوا عِبَادَ اللَّهِ إِخْوَانًا أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. That be brothers, live by brothers, do not hate each other, do not turn from each other. What does hasad mean? In reality, the definition of hasad and envy is that you are arguing with the distribution of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are unhappy with the distribution qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That you are saying, oh Allah, why did you give such and such that capability? Why did you give that person such a capability? That is why in the hadith says that hasad and envy and jealousy eats up the deeds of a person just as fire burns the wood. Why is this? Why is this such a big punishment for hasad, for envy? That his a'mal, his deeds are destroyed. The reason is that a person, and he is complaining to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, why did you give in reality, O Allah, that person such ability, capability, and not me? My brother and elders, the work of Allah, the work of deen is Allah's work, is Allah's. He chooses whoever He wants to do the work of deen. There is no dakhal, no one can say anything about it. Whoever Allah Ta'ala wants, decides to pick, Allah Ta'ala will. Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran, Allah yastafi min al-malaikati rusulahu min al-nas. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the one who only selects from His angels and from the mankind as well to do the work of deen. The intikhab comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chooses the one to do the work of deen. Sheikh Ilyas rahmatullah used to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose the ababil, the small birds, to do the work of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were the armies of Allah, junudu samawat al-ard, to destroy the army of Abraha. So then are you going to be jealous and envious of the ababil, the small birds, because Allah Ta'ala chose them instead of you? The attitude of the Sahaba was very ajib, was very amazing. When they used to see someone who's got a special quality or an amazing habit, or they were put forward ahead of everyone else, the Kibar Sahaba, the senior Sahabas, used to follow these minor Sahaba, the junior ones, just to look at their qualities and to emulate them as well. Not as with the envious eyes, but with the eyes of to emulate them. 3 times the Prophet ﷺ, one sitting, said in 3 days that the one who enters this masjid now, he is a Jannati, he is a person who is dweller of Jannah. And 3 times Saad ibn Abi Waqqas radiallahu anhu entered the masjid. Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As, he thought to himself that I want to see what amal has he got, and what actions is that the Prophet ﷺ exclaimed that he is a Jannati, dweller of Jannati. That is why to be in the company of sitting of the ulama and the ahlullah and the awliya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very important for us. Just like a person who is a sinner and he sits in the environment of sinners as well, environment of guna, and how much effect that happens upon that person's heart. The Prophet ﷺ gave an example for this. A person who is if the elder Sahaba used to see someone, a junior, who used to excel in the amal, excel in the deen, they would go and emulate that person. They used to see that person in an amazing quality. You will not find in the seerah, the whole seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, that if a person was given a status or given a promotion, any Sahabi given a responsibility, you will never ever see another Sahabi going out of Medina or leaving the Markaz of Medina because they're out of protest. You'll never see this. Or leaving the work even. There is no example for this. 3 days of announcement was made that Saad bin Waqqas was a Jannati. Abdullah bin Amr ibn As radiallahu anhu, he wanted to investigate what is the amal, what is the special amal that he does. Maybe he's got amazing salah, his qiraat, his tahajjud is great. Let's stay with him for 3 days and let's find out. He went to Saad bin Waqqas and he said that, asked him ijazat and permission that to live with him for 3 days. I want to stay in your home for 3 days. And over the 3 days, Abdullah ibn Amr ibn As stayed awake all night just to see what amal has he got. Just to see his actions at night. What is the reason Allah's Prophet ﷺ gave him the dweller of paradise, the good news of that? For 3 days, 4 collective days, the Sahabi used to go pray Isha and go to sleep straight away. No special amal was made. He didn't tell any ghibat. He never made any slander. He never used vulgar language. Abdullah bin Amr ibn As said that I was not that affected by his amal. He was a normal amal he used to do. Nothing special. I was wondering what is the reason. After 3 days I was going, and then I asked him. Saad bin Waqqas told me himself, after asking him, what is the reason the Prophet ﷺ has given you the glad tidings of paradise? He said, oh, the slave of Allah, the amal that you see of mine is the one you saw throughout the last 3 days. These are all my ma'mulat. But the thing is that whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows a favor upon another slave, I have no hasad, I have no jealousy of that person. I am happy for that person. This is a big quality, my brothers and elders. The Prophet ﷺ once, he took out a Yemeni sword from Yemen, and then he exclaimed, he asked the audience, who will take care of this sword in the battlefield? Sayyidina Umar who stood up, he said, Ya Rasulullah, he's the one of the Puranas, elders, one of the first people the Muhajirin. The Prophet ﷺ exclaimed as well, if there was a prophet to come after me, it would be Umar. All the capabilities he's got. And he's the first one who stood up. He said, Ya Rasulullah, give me the sword. But the Prophet ﷺ said, sit down, it's not for you. And then he again exclaimed, who will take the sword? Hazrat Sayyidina Zubair who stood up as well. He's the relative of the Prophet ﷺ. He's elder as well, and he's Purana Sati. And he's got the capability as well. But then he refused for him to give. And then the third time he said, who will take the sword and who will fulfill the rights of the sword in the battlefield? Today we think that I'm elder, I'm Purana Sati, I'm more worthy. I'm worthy for this thing. After that saying, Umar and Zubair anhuma, they stayed away from this after hearing this announcement. There was a Sahabi in between, Abu Dujana radiallahu anhu. Abu Dujana stood up and he said, Ya Rasulullah, give me this sword. Yet there were Umar and Zubair and other Sahabas in between them. The Prophet ﷺ gave the sword to Abu Dujana. Zubair thought to himself that even though we are people amongst us who are more worthy of the sword, but maybe Allah Ta'ala has chosen him for a reason. And then he followed him, Abu Dujana radiallahu anhu, and he said to himself that Allah and His Rasul knows best. My brother, unless we don't know Allah, who Allah Ta'ala wants to choose to do work of deen. My brother, unless hasad is such a thing, which will destroy the ummah, destroy the unity of the ummah. This work of da'wah is one thing that will only happen through the ta'awun of each other. Allah Ta'ala says, وَتَعَاوُنَ عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى. That help each other in work of da'wah, in the work of goodness. Today we have competition of everything. One business competing with another business, one hotel competing with another hotel. But yet in deen, we have to help each other, we have to cooperate with each other. We have to do ta'awun with each other. Not taqabul, not attacking each other, not competing with each other. And this ta'awun is stopped by hasad. I will not take up with him, I will not stay with him, I will not assist that person. Ta'awun, hasad stops the ta'awun. This was part of the excerpt of the bayan of Sheikh Saad Damat Barakatuhum. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to be united as a ummah and save us from hasad and the things that disunite the ummah. Please like and subscribe and share with others this channel. Until the next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.